heart and giving thanks for the blessing of this gathering today. Good morning, my beautiful ladies. Welcome to each and every one of you. I just love looking across and seeing all these faces. It's just so nice. Gives me such joy in the morning. There's my joy. So today, City and I are going to do a little slightly different order to things because we like to just change it up a little bit and to experience our time together in a slightly different way. So I want to ask Karen Gunn first. She had a friend, Natalie. Is Natalie with us? Karen, let's see, unmute. You see, I don't see her. Just wanted to make sure to welcome her if she was here. I don't see her on yet. Okay. So today I have a couple of things to mention. One is to remind any of you who have not gotten on the WhatsApp, we are trying to utilize our group WhatsApp to communicate links and just daily inspirations. It's just such a simple way to communicate. So if you are having trouble and need assistance, please let City or let me know. Otherwise, we'd love to have you join us on WhatsApp. And this morning, Brenda would like to take a couple of moments to chat about the Course in Miracles, which I know we've brought up before, but not specifically about what that group is and when they meet and how that works. So Brenda, could you share that with us this morning?
Great, thank you, Nikki. Good morning, everyone. So good to see you. I want to share that A Course in Miracles is starting this new little book, and I'll post this in the chat. It's a little thing. We're going to start on Wednesday mornings from 8:30 to 9:30, tackling this book. And we've been running A Course in Miracles through Spirit House for over 10 years, every week since. And it's become truly an important part of my life, and I know an important part of people's lives who participate in it. It doesn't take much effort at all to participate in A Course in Miracles and to think about how to integrate having more spirit in your life. And I know I've found it to be valuable. I know Karen has found it to be valuable. Clea is a regular on the Wednesday group. Please consider joining us. If it strikes your heart at all that it might be something you're curious about. When I started, I had no idea what A Course in Miracles was, and that's fine. No knowledge is needed at all. It's a great group, only 1 hour Wednesday mornings. Thank you.
What time Wednesday mornings?
8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. on Zoom.
Okay, so you'll just post.
I will post in WhatsApp. I'll post in WhatsApp our Zoom link.
Both, great. That and even on our chat today. I can't speak highly enough of A Course in Miracles. If you read any spiritual teachers, sort of modern teachers like Marianne Williamson or that type of teacher, they'll say that Course in Miracles was one of the foundational underpinning teachings in their spirit journey. It comes up so often, and it's such an intriguing teaching that was channeled through these two individuals I think it's about 50 or 60 years old now, maybe not quite that, 50 years old. But it's a fabulous, very interesting way, and it ties nicely into our topic today because it is a teaching that helps us to distance ourselves from the parts of our life that we are constructing that are not working for us, the mindsets that are not working for us. It's very simple. It's a simple teaching wrapped in some very interesting vernacular. The language of it is very, it's kind of like the teachers, when you find spiritual teachers who answer questions with more questions, and you never feel like you quite get your arms around what the information is. And then you have an experience in your life where you live through it, and it isn't just happening in your mind where you're trying to give form to it. And you go, oh, now I understand. Course in Miracles sinks into you in that way. It's really fabulous. I highly recommend tapping into that if anyone has Wednesday mornings to give to their spirit journey. Thank you, Brenda. Beautiful. So nice. It's still continuing. I remember when we first started it with a group at Spirit House 10 years ago, and none of us, we all knew we needed to study it, but none of us knew much about it. And so we decided we would do group leadership because no one felt they could lead the group in it. And we had so much fun with it. It was such a blessing. And most of us had said we had held, I don't have the original book with sitting here on my desk, but it's like this thick. And we all had said it had been on our shelves for years, and it just looked too daunting to actually undertake. So we just kept it on the shelf going, sometime I'll study this. And I think that Brenda's found a great way to do it in an even more simplified version of it without the big thick book. So it's all good. So enjoy. So today we're going to talk about, Britt Marie brought this up last week, and we wanted to, City and I wanted to continue this discussion about detachment. And so we're going to do a little back and forth between us, City and I are, and I'm going to start with maybe a little description of detachment, because many people will have said to me, but I thought the idea of the spiritual journey was that we got more involved and that we handled more that would come through us and that we were less needing to push things away. We could invite them in and we would be fine about it. So why are we detaching? That sounds like we're stepping out of the world instead of stepping into the world. And I want to say that detachment is not a removal of you from a situation. It is appropriate and healthy attachment. So we stay attached. We're human beings in this incarnation, and we're woven together. And the goal is not to unweave ourselves and to not have a relationship. The goal is to be able to do it in a healthy way. And so for me, when I think about detaching, I think not just about boundaries. Boundaries is a great idea, setting up boundaries, but boundaries require a lot of tending. You have to really keep track of what's coming and what's going. And detachment is and can become actually a way that you live into relationships with everything around you, not just individuals, with your health, with your body, with what's happening culturally, what's happening in our politics. It can be any and all aspects of your life. There is a possibility of us holding those relationships with spaciousness, not pushing them away or negating them or having a problem with them, but holding them with this spaciousness that allows us. I know I've told you this before, but this comes into my mind so frequently. My teacher said, gurus comment about holding detachment like a kaftan. So you're wearing a loose, flowy garment rather than wearing tight yoga stretch pants and a top. That we don't hold life that way. When we hold it that close to us, there's no room for breath. There's no room for ease. There's no room for movement. When we hold it, and I just have such a visual of holding it as a kaftan that just flows with us. We're walking through life flowing, and things are coming and they're going, and we still are able to hold this spaciousness. And so I want us to have a visual of us being in this healthy and appropriate attachment that is spacious, that has room for us to move and room for us to respond and room for us to sit with something and not even have to have a response. That sometimes no response is a response. I think most of us are very aware and feel as though when something's proposed or is brought into our arena of experience or awareness, that we need to respond to it. So when something or someone behaves or contributes in a way that is maybe we feel it's attacking or it's inappropriate or whatever, that we have to actually have input. And part of this learning to be in a bit of detachment is that we actually can have no response. We can just allow. And I think Laura said this last week, which I thought was so beautiful, the idea of curiosity, that while we're in that spaciousness, we're allowing ourselves to be curious. We're not responding, we're not reacting, we're just curious. So it's an internal process instead of an external process. And that gives us the time for us to settle. So typically, when we have a response to something, it happens it comes to us and it happens on a physical and an emotional level, and then the mental gives some construct to it, and then we want to respond to it. But there's something happening to us physically as we are maybe moving back from it, or we are having an immediate judgment of something. There's a physical reaction that's happening for us. Our heartbeat might be increased. We might have a flushed feeling to ourselves. We might have that gut feeling of I'm agitated and this is not good. And when we create this spaciousness and a room for this kaftan to flow, we allow ourselves the time, even a few seconds, to gather ourselves to be able to be more foundationally stable. So our goal is to be stable all the time. So I'm going to give this to Siddhi for a moment because I know she has something to contribute. My love.
I think, when Britt Marie, when I listened to you last weekend, I looked at a lot of family constellations, and it's so interesting, even in my family constellation, that if I look back into history, there's always one person in the family who's a challenge for the others. So often does that occur, but maybe that person is our teacher, and they trigger through their behavior or the being aggressive and, hard for us to be around. But if we learn to regulate ourselves, because what happens if we feel attacked, it's going into our nervous system. Yeah, so and our nervous system gets activated and we are in this phase. So if we learn to regulate our nervous system, we also can learn to regulate their nervous system, because they operate from a place most likely of fear or trauma. And I think that's where our question comes in, what happened to this person? So when we ask what happened to this person, we are going into compassion. So in the moment we are going into compassion, we are shifting the energy inside of us, and we can relate differently. We can stay involved, but we are not entangled. And what really helped me, because I have a family situation similar, so I think that's really important for all mothers to know, is because I have one son who really can push all my buttons. And when I learned that they exchange, when our children are in our womb, they actually exchange their energy with us. And this child will stay with us to our last breath. So to get detached from children might be even much harder than from a brother or a sister or a mother. Yeah, so we need to know that they are literally under our skin, so that we also have compassion for ourselves. Yeah, it takes more effort. And I found a solution for myself is to just do prayers. When I sit every day and I pray for my child, I'm still being involved, but I'm not entangled in the daily experience. And I made that a daily practice. So for me, and I think that really helped me to stay present. And I trust that these prayers are working. So that's something I wanted to share, because I think detachment is not letting go, but it's surrendering, to whatever happens right now is in the divine order, and going into deep trust and seeing them as teachers, maybe for us to enter surrendering and letting go.
I love that. Siddhi taught that to me as well. I mean, there isn't anyone that doesn't have a family situation that they need support with, I don't think, given the conversations we all have. And she helped me come up with a morning, actually a chant, and it really is such a soothing way to start the day in commitment to helping to hold my family in a certain way. So that really starts me off in a different frame of mind for the day. And then what comes to me around my family shifts a little bit, how I see that. But when we're talking about detachment, it isn't just family constellations and family systems. That, of course, is the heightened one that hits us because we have a desire to be in healthy relationship with our family members. but it's also our bodies. So many of us here have had physical situations over the last several years that we're having to tend to and having to be willing to accept at a different level. And one of the things that is useful is to be reminded that the law of abundance, there's enough health, there's enough vitality, there's enough interaction, there's enough resources if we learn how to accept what has come to us rather than desiring something different. So how often we wish that the situation was different, whether it's a physical relationship, somebody that's in our life, or it's our body relationship, or it's our politics or our country, or it's COVID. We wish it would be different. And part of what Citi was stating that I really agree with, and I think we can use as a way to reframe a situation, is that there's enough in it right now for us to learn from and for us to use as a stepping stone, whether it's a relationship or it's a situation, that wishing it was different and trying to make it different is very, it's in opposition to allowing it to be what it is, and then taking small openings to say, this is challenging for me, and what am I learning? How am I growing and deepening in it? Rather, how am I getting away from it? How am I moving it? We're not looking to always shift something as much as we are to collaborate on it. Am I collaborating on the challenges in my life that I have some input, but not total? Because almost everything we're talking about, we're not fully responsible for. Relationships, our physical, the health and the mending of our body, the politics in our country, the health of individuals with COVID. We don't have control over that. We have only a piece. What is my piece? And am I stepping up for that? And then am I willing to allow spaciousness for it to mend and be held, and then for it to be moving? That we aren't always going to be able to move something to the place that we wish it would be. It isn't possible for us to do that. So how do we allow ourselves to be in the situations and be curious and be responsible for what is ours, not what is someone else's, and still allow a situation to be what it is? Allowing situations to be what they are as the growth and the maturity. How many times in our lives have we said, I saw that situation and I never could see what the benefit of it was. And years later, we see how it was a piece in the overall development of an individual, cultural, politics, something where we go, wow, that little disruptive piece that I really wanted to let go of and just have it not be true, actually maybe motivated or inspired or was a catalyst for something else happening. And so we don't know, we don't see the whole picture. We only see the myopic part we're in that has discomfort for us. How to sit with that discomfort and allow it just to wash over rather than it becoming the focus of every time we're together with someone. And remembering in every situation, it can be different. Every time we come back to being in family, back to being wherever it is, at whatever challenge we're re-entering, it can be different. If our mind doesn't give it the same construct and decide what the end result's going to be, it can be different. That's our curiosity. So this week, let's remember that there's a universal balance to things. And though something may look like it's not in its right place or in the right order for what you would like to experience, let's give it spaciousness to play out. And let's show up and be responsible for what we're responsible for. And we are not responsible for everything. As mothers, we tend to take responsibility for all things that happen. We are not in a healthy way responsible. It's inappropriate for us to take on all of the situations that come. People have to learn through their own experience. Our family members, our loved ones, our communities, we have to leave spaciousness.
Yeah, and I also think it's very important, and like you said, the spaciousness, but also not to take anything personal, you know, and that's really a challenge, especially I think if it happens with children, because, you know, if I would have known what I know now about parenting, I would have done a better job, period. Yeah. So, and I have to always watch out that I don't go into guilt and, oh God, what did I do? What, you know, where did I go wrong? And I can really come from that. I love my children wholeheartedly, and I did make mistakes. But if I would have known better, I would have also done better. And that really helps me because, even if I teach now a prenatal class, I think, why in the world didn't I have that when I was pregnant? We didn't had all this support. So, and for me, the most interesting thing is always when the astrologer every year looks into the life of my children. And when he shares, I'm like, oh my God, it's like as if if all of us come in with teachings and with learnings, and some people come in and they have an easier ride on this earth, and some really come in with a lot of stuff to, go through. So and that helped me every time to see, well, it's already black and white, and yes, we have some choices and we can change something. I did my best, but maybe this child picked me as a mother to move through these changes, and that's also if it's the brother or somebody else. So I just want to call on all of us to, not to take these things personal, see them as a cry for help. If people are extremely aggressive and you don't want to be around them, it's the only way to express themselves in that moment because they are in a reaction. And then taking it as a teaching and coming into this compassionate place, how can I be of service to this person? By being of service to my own needs. And I think if I take care of myself, I also take care of that person who is in a challenge right now. So I just would like to add that because I think for us mothers, guilt can come in like automatic, and that's really doesn't do anybody good. So let's stay with being in the surrendering, in the trusting into the divine plan that every person brings onto planet. And we help wherever we can. That's what I would say. Nicola, something for you?
No, I'm finished. I'm taking spaciousness now. No, I would just say that it's a journey. This is our journey in the conscious seeking that we're doing, the consciousness that we're looking for and we're endeavoring to bring into our lives, is that we are beautifully attached and detached at the same time to all situations in our life and to all individuals, and that it's allowing us that balance between the detachment and attachment allows us to have the deepest, most vibrant relationships with everything in our life, the individuals, the situations, our body, the world, all of it, that we are walking through this path. And that if we can bring balance into ourselves to be able to hold all that comes at us, we can live in the most deep, fulfilling way possible, even when there's chaos, even when there are individuals that are challenging us, that we are responsible for this internal process and this internal makeup. And what we do with this, how we commit to making this the most conscious walk we can make in this lifetime, then we're going to have these things are going to keep coming up, and we're going to find that our relationship with others has completely shifted. And I don't mean in necessarily how we're speaking to them, I mean internally. That the internal dialogue that we have had through our frustrations with situations and individuals will disappear. The situation may still exist, but we won't be going into a dialogue about it all the time. We'll just be present and curious and compassionate. And where it's our job to step in, we'll step in.
Bring our hands so all the fingertips touch, forearms parallel, and let's do a breath just in and out of the open mouth so that we can let go of our attachments, our expectations, how things should look with our relatives or whoever. Yeah, and you just in and exhale through the open mouth. Like, you bring fresh air. You're engaging your navel, you're activating your brain. Just a little bit more. Inhale deeply, suspend your breath. And then we exhale, we bring our palms facing forward, elbows go back. And now we want to push out anything that really doesn't belong to us that we took on. Yeah, so you exhale through the open mouth, you bring your palms forward, inhale, nose, elbows go back. All the stress, yeah, all the fear around these relations, which are natural. Stress creates fear, fear can create stress. And then it harbors in our kidneys and in our adrenal glands. So I want you to start to arching and rounding your spine. See what you need to blow out. Last one. And inhale, bring your elbows back. Exhale, relax your hands onto your knees, palms facing upward. So whatever interactions we have with those that are really close to us, that energy goes into our kidneys, our relationship organs in our back. They are actually, Britt Marie, like little twins. They are just located a little bit differently in the back. Yeah, so fear gets right in there. And then our adrenal glands are on top of these kidneys. Yeah, so if there's fear here, the fear penetrates into the adrenal glands and creates stress here. And if we have stress with the outside world, yeah, that goes into our adrenal glands, and then they again sit on top here, and then it goes into fear. So they are really connected, the adrenal glands and the kidney glands. So that's why it's so important to work the kidneys and the adrenals, which we will do with this really soothing movement. We did it probably a lot of times, hands on your knees, but that's something you can use to let go consciously. So you arch forward, and if you have something you want to let go of, I prefer to exhale open mouth when I go back. I inhale and I imagine I nourish my kidneys and my adrenal glands, and then I exhale open mouth and I pressurize them and I let go. So inhale and go like, giving these glands a little break. Stress is okay, fear is okay, we all have it. If it's short-lived, it's not a problem at all. If it becomes chronic, it becomes not easy, it's not great, yeah, because then that can create a lot of dis-ease. This posture is great to use to regulate yourself. You can do this sitting on a chair. You can even do it standing, do big hip rotations. The one kidney is closer towards our liver. So sometimes, these interactions can also make us angry and aggravated, which is also normal. Yeah, then just know that energy goes into the right kidney. Our left kidney has more to do with our feelings, our emotions, our reproductive organs. Reverse the direction, please. And when you reverse, you can just imagine what you would like to bring into your kidneys. Ease and peacefulness. Everything we experience is stored in our memory, in our body. The good and the bad. So we want to increase the good. Last 3 rotations. And then we come to center. So I like for you the Yoni Mudra, which is associated actually with the womb. Our reproductive organs, belongs to the second chakra. That's where our emotions are at home, our feelings. So the Yoni Mudra, you have the tip of your index fingers touch. This is one version. There are a lot of versions for this mudra, but for today, I like this one. Yeah, so these touch and they're pointing down. The other, the middle finger, ring finger, and pinky, they touch at their knuckles. And all fingertips pointing upward. And then the tip of your thumbs are touching. You press this against your navel or below your navel, this mudra. Make sure your index fingertips pointing down. Feel the mudra against your body. Drop your shoulders. And we go into the cosmic breath. We inhale through the nose. And we exhale, open mouth. We inhale, open mouth. And exhale through the nose. Inhale, nose. And exhale, open mouth. Inhale, mouth. And exhale, nose. Now keep this rhythm at your own pace. While you keep going, imagine you become one with the breath of Mother Earth, her expansion, her contraction. And then slowly regulate your breath in and exhale through your nostrils. Place your right hand on top of your left. Tip of your thumbs are touching. Rest the mudra in your lap. Be present to how you feel right now. And be present to the change of life, the movement inside of you and outside of you. And from here, we bring our hands into prayer pose. Bowing to our heart again, bowing towards each other. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Britt Marie, for your question. Have a wonderful week.